Hey, Heavy, how's it going? Hey, Sus, how's it going? How's the new job, by the way? What's going on, chat? Are you guys ready for another episode of the TELERIA podcast? We got a lot of things to talk about. We got a new fusion, Hansel and Gretel. And Plarium dropped a little bit of a bomb on us last week, or not last week, the week before, about making Live Arena more interesting for all of us, making us wanting to do it. I think we're going to teach them what they really should do to make it more enjoyable. So just give us a couple of minutes here, let us get ready, and we'll get this show going for you. chat, are you guys ready for another fusion? Is this something you guys are just finally over and done with fusions? Do you feel the burnout? Let's have a little conversation about this while we wait. How many of you are ready for another fusion? Hey, shout out to Bick for the rate of 24. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Give us a second here, guys. We're just almost done. Sorry about that, chat. We had some technical difficulties right there. Not sure how that happened. Sorry guys, I'm trying to catch Gestal when he's doing the improper thing, just to show you guys he does things off stream. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Knights of TELERIA podcast, where we seem to be having a lot of technical difficulties. This is going to be episode number 66, and it's going to be a fun one. Yeah, we're getting close. We're 60, yes. We got a lot of things planned for this podcast, guys. We got a new fusion, Hansel and Gretel, and I want to talk about a little bit on the live arena aspect, where Plarium kind of gave us a little bit of a hint on they're planning on doing some reworks to it that are going to make it more appealing for us to play live arena, and that's supposed to be happening sometime within the next 2 to 3 months. Now, before we go too far, let's introduce the co-host for today's podcast. In the red box right at the top, we've got the streamer of the year, Mr. FinalKenpachi. Ken, what's going on, brother? How are you? Wow, okay. Okay. All right. Oh. Hey, Ken. How about you try that again, Ken? That was my mess up. I forgot. I had you guys muted so they can't hear you while we get set up.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Now they got you. Yes, they did.
Dang it.
Guys, he's muting me, guys. Save me, guys. Like, too much bully. I'm joking. It's a day off today, so I go a little bit outside. Got a little bit hiking, and end of the day, I got 18,000 steps.
Wow,
feels good to touch some grass, yeah. But here we are now.
All right.
What about you guys? How are you guys doing?
18,000 steps. That's a lot. I mean, yep. I walk usually as a driver 2 to 3 miles a day, and that's you know what? I don't even know what that requires the steps, but damn. All right, next up, we got my favorite late night streamer in that sexy green background, Mr. MXPJ. PJ, what's going on, brother?
Doing awesome. Watched some good UFC fights yesterday. Watched some good baseball recently. I'm a Yankees fan, so we're losing, but still some good games, so can't complain about that. And yeah, doing well.
Did you just say you're a Yankees fan?
Yes.
All right, I got to kick him off the stream. Even though I'm not, listen, I'm not a big sports fan. I do live, in New England, and we got the Red Sox, so we reversed the curse, but I got to kick you off stream now. I'm sorry.
That's understandable. But I'm not doing awesome. Happy to be back on the podcast and be here with you guys talking about what's coming up in Raid.
Nice. Next up, we got a top live arena player, top 100, Mr. Gestal Gaming. Gestal, what's going on, brother?
Well, I'm a Yankee fan too, so we'll see you later, guys.
Well, let's go. We'll make our own podcast. It's fine.
And let me tell you something. The best game I went to Game 7 where Aaron Boone hit the walk-off homer against the Red Sox. In the ALCS. What was that? 2004, 2003, 2004. Greatest game I've ever been to in my life, and I honestly don't even like to go to sporting events anymore because I've been at the pinnacle, man. I've been there.
Yeah,
I could have gone to the World Series that year, and I didn't even go. I was like, I went to the World Series, man. So
wow, that's okay. All right, I think I got to restructure the podcast a little bit here next week, guys. So we'll see who comes on. Next up, we got the Dab Master himself, all the way from Texas. Mr. Zero Brew. Zero, what is going on, brother?
Well, doing great. I'm wearing pants, so that's good. I was doing it when you did the preview, so that was good. Silence Pantaloons is not good. And if it makes you feel better, I lived in Boston for 5 years. And while I was in Boston, all 4 of the majors won. I was there from 2007 to 2012. So at any given point, it was the Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, and of course the Red Sox winning something while I was up there. So that was fun to see.
You got teacher's pet.
Yeah. And I'm excited. We got a guest here today.
We do. But before I get to him, let me ask you, where in Boston did you live?
Oh, I lived right off Porter Square, if you know where that is off the Red Line.
Yeah,
Somerville.
Yeah. Nope, that's an area I don't go to too often. I enjoy owning my kidneys and the rest of my body parts and living and walking. All right.
Yeah, fair enough.
Last but not least, we've got a new person on the scene. Free to play, right? Seems to have a lot of fun, raging out sometimes. We got Mr. Airfern. Fern, how is it going, brother? How are you?
Going well. Thank you for having me on. Honestly, I appreciate you guys so much. I told you guys earlier when we first got on here, like, I've learned from everybody here, so this is awesome. I should preface, I'm from New York, and I grew up a Yankees fan. Also,
we're dominating.
Oh, all right.
That being said, I'm not a Yankees fan anymore, so
there we go.
You can always come back. It's fine.
Chat, let us know what is your favorite baseball team? Are you a Yankees, Red Sox? I don't even know. Dodgers.
Roadblock said he's an Orioles fan. He should be safe.
Yeah, okay, he's safe there. I don't think they've ever actually done anything. But we gotta talk about the new fusion. And before we get to that, though, I gotta ask you guys. A big sentiment this week seems to be Burnout. There's a lot of people that are just tired from the fusions. And I know that a lot of us are going to say, well, you don't really have to go for every single one. But for most of us endgame players, it's how we really get brand new champions. Are you guys feeling the burnout from all these fusions? Zero.
So I actually woke up this morning and was coming into my office and I said, I got to log into Raid to do some more daily stuff. Was exactly what I said. So it's funny that this is the first question. I feel like though the last 2 weeks they kind of gave us a little bit of a break, right? Because I went for the last one that most people skipped. So this actual week has been kind of fun, and PJ I dabbled back into. I got my shop up to level 41.
Nice.
On the trading game thing. So that's pretty cool.
That's higher than me, I think.
Yeah. So it's going a little bit faster, but. Yeah, I think I don't know where I'm at with Raid right now. It's like, we're 2.5 years in. I feel like I do every single thing every single day, plus some. Go for most of all the fusions. I've only skipped maybe 3 or 4 fusions. So the burnout is definitely teetering. It's there, but I do content with this game, so I don't know if I can allow myself to get burnt out. That's just kind of where I'm at with it.
Okay. PJ, what about you? Are you feeling burnt out?
I personally like fusions and doing the fusions, and the fusion part of this game. I like that it brings activities and events to it. But I definitely have noticed that there's been like a lot more just tournaments and events, even like this random UDK 5-star soul, like super random. So stuff like that you definitely can skip and not have to do. But I personally like fusions. I like doing them. I save my shards for them. I save my resources for them. So as far as like that, not really.
Okay. All right. Gestal, what about you?
No, I mean, I've been playing 4.5 years. This game to me is, it's very, just like running in the background. Like I don't ever feel like the pressure, I guess, to play it. I'm kind of very OCD, meticulous.
Okay.
Like I like the repetition of it. I like having, like, okay, I gotta get this done today, whatever it is. Like I actually like that. It's whatever's wrong in my brain, but it's it's like a perfect game for me because I don't have to be super serious about it, but I still get that grind. So that's what I like about it. The only thing I'm having burnout from is Armand's and Wukong. Live Arena would be a much better place without those two champs.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, we'll be touching on that.
And
in just a little bit.
notice I didn't say a mythical there. Notice.
Did you call for Armand's?
I know, but I throw Wukong in there because Wukong is honestly the most broken champ in the game. But Armand's is obviously the worst. So.
Yeah.
Um,
At least I feel like Wukong's, you can deal with him somewhat. But you're right, he is a pain in the butt.
Bro, you can't deal with them when they're picking Armand's 3 mythicals that you can't do anything with. You have to leave them in there, and you're probably getting locked out. And then what? Wukong's taking it to task. Even if you like, the only way to deal with Wukong is block revive.
Okay. Yeah,
And
fair.
if you don't get that off and you can't take them, you can't bring a block revive, then
You're pretty
Wukong
much
will
done.
one shot. You will have won the game. You will have won the match. Wukong will pop back up, take the turn right away, and clear out the whole team, bro. That is ridiculous. It is the dumbest thing in the world.
Come on, it's so fun.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst. You do not get 100% turn meter after 3 turns of being dead the entire match. That is lunacy.
But he's pretty
It's
squishy.
lunacy.
Come on, he's pretty squishy.
He's coming back at 3 turns with full turn meter. I would rather not kill him. You have less turn meter then. Bro, 100% turn meter. It's broken. Broken. Sorry.
No worries. Ken, what about you, man? Are you feeling burnt out?
Why too? But I don't understand why.
Burnout? I don't
Yeah,
know.
why?
Too much stuff to do in game, fusion after fusion after fusion. I mean, I guess you
I
don't
mean,
play the game
not
the same way
every
we
fusion-
do.
I mean, not every fusion is worth to go. Not every fusion is game changer. Especially, I'm very happy when they release like garbage fusion. I'm super happy. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna skip all of them, which means I'm gonna save lots of the resources. Actually, if they release a good fusion, I'm happy because my account going to get a good champion, right? And if they release a bad fusion, I'm also happy because I'm gonna save my resources. I don't see the negative thing about it. No, I don't feel burnout or anything.
Okay.
About the Armand's Gestal, let me give you the tip. Use the Arix with the life harvest blessing. When the Armand's back, Arix will be there, ready for the A1 skill, and boom. Every time Wukong back, Arix A1 and he's dead again. Like, this is how I'm doing it. But Armaz, I totally agree. Armaz, delete Armaz, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Delete Armaz.
Okay. Fern, what about you, man? Are you feeling burnt out here?
Not burnt out. I mean, we like doing fusions. I think fusions are actually pretty easy to do. We're a free-to-play account, and I think they're super easy to do. The events afterwards, like the Thor, those are, I think, a grind and are definitely take a lot of gems. I get frustrated with some of the chores that we have to do in the game. I've been pretty adamant on my channel about use a Hydra key. Like that's an hour and a half sometimes, and could be longer. That feels like a chore. That doesn't feel like a game. That feels like, oh, I got chores to do today. Tag Arena later today, having to just get myself back up to neutral, that feels like a chore. That's unenjoyable. That I get frustrated with. But the fusions, no, I don't mind the events. I could always, if I don't like Ken's saying, if you don't like an event, you don't have to do it. I would rather have a million events and then I get to choose which event as opposed to waiting for an event to come. So in that sense, I'm not burned out, but the chores do burn me out.
Okay. All right. We did have a question posed to us by a viewer. Let me just pull it up here real quick. I had it up. Do you guys think we're gonna get a mythical a blessing only for mythical champions anytime soon? Gestal.
Sorry, what was the question? I was reading chat.
What is soon?
I would say in the next 6 months. Do you think we're gonna get a tier of blessings just for mythical champions? Gestal.
A tier of in the wish list?
No, in the blessing
like,
here.
Like just for blessings.
Just for
mythical
mythicals.
blessings.
They ain't got enough space.
I mean,
no.
not only, I don't see it honestly because they're already so overpowered, right? Like we're gonna give them another level of OPness. And there's just not I don't know. I could say in the future I could see it. 6 months, probably not. Maybe if this game's around in 6 years, like 100%, I'm sure that the power creep will reach that point. But I don't think. I don't think it's 6 months. Nah.
Okay. I mean, they have been releasing mythicals pretty regularly.
They've missed the last 2 months though.
Last
one was Commodus. I mean, they were doing 2 in a row there for a while.
Yeah,
so,
they were sending out pretty consistently, almost on a monthly basis. But they also did tell us
coming, yeah.
Yeah, there is a new one coming, and they also did tell us that we're gonna get mythical void champions. So I don't know. I feel like it might just be something coming down the line. Zero, what about you? Do you think we're gonna get mythical blessings?
No, I think they have other things in the game to add or fix or balance. And as crazy as it sounds, it was very interesting to see that they changed the screen for PC players only. And just looking at the UI for the blessings that you just had up, there's no room to even add that. So, and that's me putting on my computer programming hat on, right? When you click that and you click change blessing, there's no place to even put that.
Yeah, but Harmony wasn't there. Oh no, Harmony was there before, wasn't it?
They had a placeholder for Harmony, but what I'm saying is the 6 slots you have that you have right there, you'd have to shrink those and slide them up to get an 8.
They could put it on a scroller, no?
They could. They could.
Yeah, but I don't know. Trust me, they pre-planned this, and I don't think they had that in their works.
Do you really think they plan things out? Come on, look at Hydra.
Well, I meant it's in terms of the like GUI stuff. Yeah, no, I think they actually probably put more planning in on, because they have to make it both friendly for a cell phone, an iPad, and a PC, right? So I do think they do some pre-planning on all this, which is why the Harmony slot was already slotted in. They're like, we don't know what it's going to be. And when we get there, but we're placeholding it. I mean, you kind of look at like the clan boss, right? Like I know we had that blocked out spot for the clan boss, and then like the dungeon screen was as big as it was. I guess they added a couple on the end, but then they added a new one for the temporary dungeon. I'm just saying, like I think there's no room for this, and as weird as that sounds, no.
Okay.
Unless they did a whole new thing and put it on a slider, like you said, maybe, and it's all mythicals or something. I don't know, but from a GUI, which is for those who don't know computer programming, a graphical user interface. From a graphical user interface, let me do my nerd glass push here. They don't have room for it.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I feel like there are some comments going on here, like, wait, we're gonna get another shard type of void. I think Ken was the one that released a screenshot of it when it first came out.
He leaked something.
He leaked the mythical void shard back when mythicals were coming, and they told us. I have that on stream. I'll have to go and find it, but I'm pretty sure I can. It might be like a year or two back, but you did leak it on stream, where they show Ken's all like, "Wait, what did I do?"
Oh wait, you mean
the primals? Yes, the mythical void shards. Yeah, he changed the color to purple. And he said, "There we go. There's a void." Yeah, would it make legendaries less valuable? I don't think so, because it's still there's still not a lot of mythicals. But at the rate they're going, I mean, there's already so much power creep in there. I mean, it might just happen. Let's go to.
I was just going to say, I just find it interesting that they released what little mythicals they have, and they've already gone through and buffed some of them, right?
That's true.
Sigfriend and Mezimel just most recently. Mezimel is a slaughterhouse in Arena now.
Yeah.
After the buff.
PJ, what about you?
Next 6 months, I don't think so. Maybe in like a couple of years, like Gestal said, just with the natural power creep of the game, I could see it. Mythicals do get a little bit of a stat boost from it, so it's like they are getting a little bit of a benefit than the legendaries. They get like 20 speed, a little bit extra, like just overall just extra boost in the stats. So that like helps them, but I don't think they'll get a mythical blessing anytime soon.
Okay. Ken?
I mean, the biggest problem, not really some mythical, void mythical or the blessing for the mythical. The biggest problem is if you unlucky, triggering your mercy from primal shard, going to take the 2 years. Like, did you guys accept this reality?
No,
2 years to get one mythical.
We're not free to play.
Can you imagine? Yeah,
Okay. I was just gonna say that a lot of people don't even have one mythical right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Can you guys imagine how many years you need to play to get void mythical?
Fair. 5 years. I mean, that just means the
3,
longevity of the game.
Are they gonna release the mythical blessing? I mean, eventually they will. They will also release a Faction Garden. We know that, right? So, yeah, there is a lot of people who already can max their Faction Garden right now. You know, if they release today, they can just literally max it. Like, Gestal smile.
Not me, bro.
Okay.
I see them. I see those accounts.
Yeah, I mean, they can do that. Like, mythical already very powerful. It doesn't mean, by the way, the blessing they release is gonna be super powerful. There is a chance, of course, but usually the blessing they are releasing is not that great. You know, like, I don't know. We will see, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's not impossible. It's possible, definitely.
Okay. Fern, what about you?
I think it's gonna be a long time. I don't think Plarium's smart enough to create 8 new blessings. So, I mean, you know, it's gonna be, they're gonna have to be really creative with it. So, you know, I just think it's gonna be a little bit before they do. It's gonna be whenever they feel as though they need to give the biggest spenders another edge and move the field goals, move the end zones again. That's when I think they do it. But right now, I don't think there's already enough of a gap. And I think as that closes, then that's when they'll push it open again.
Okay. Interesting. So I guess we'll wait and see on what happens with that. But it's interesting to hear everybody's opinion on this. Now, let's talk about the new fusion. Now, this is going to be a new dynamic pair. We've got Hansel and Gretel. Let's dive into the kit. I mean, I feel both of these champions together are decent, but if I had to pick myself, I would go for Gretel over Hansel. But the A1 attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense for 2 turns. If Hansel is on the team, basically makes it AoE and drops it from a 50% to a 25% unbooked. When booked, it becomes 50%. And it does place an extra hit. I did get confirmation that the extra hit will not put decreased defense on the target. Now, as for an A1, where do you guys kind of stand with this? Good, bad? Let's go to PJ first.
Solid. It's A1 has a decreased defense on it. Big decreased defense. That's good. Nothing wrong with that. If you pair it with the partner, you get the AoE, which is really solid. Double hitter. If they're under decreased defense, or if they're under any buffs.
Right.
If they're under buffs, they get the double hitter. So I mean, it's all right. Yeah, it's good for Hydra, bringing another like decrease, not her specifically, but maybe her, but just the movements in general is good for Hydra, bringing like another decreased defense for the decapitated heads, or just if you don't land it. It's an okay solid A1.
Okay. Zero, what about you?
Yeah, I like it. First of all, can I just say I like the Hansel and Gretel theme. That's cool for Halloween. I think we all grew up with that classic story. And I think, wasn't there a movie like in the mid 90s? I'm looking more for Gestal and Blazin to answer this question.
Yeah, it was like an action movie.
Is that your way of calling me old?
Yeah. But that's all right. I think I'm the oldest. But wasn't there like an action movie where like Hansel and Gretel were like vampire / werewolf hunters and stuff? Like they were like monster hunters, essentially back in the day. So it's cool that they kind of did this little homage to that kind of sort of. That's the way I look at it. But as far as the A1, I think it's solid. Again, like you said, bringing the extra decreased defense. I think in obviously reading the kits and all of these, and my stance is, what are they going to do together? I think solo they're average at best, but when you get both of them together, it starts getting crazy. Like again, you attack one enemy and 75% chance of putting it on there for 2 turns, but you add Hansel and now it's an AoE, and then adds an extra hit. And we know that right now the meta in arena specifically is really buff heavy right now, right? So it's like you're almost guaranteed to get a double AoE hit with a decreased defense behind it, again barring sheep and polymorph, right? But I don't know, I'm kind of excited just for the theme. It might suck, but I don't know. That's going to be my overall theme for all this. Now that I got that out of the way, I'll have shorter answers as we go through this.
Okay, cool. Because I am getting DMs already to start muting you. Gestal,
fair enough.
What about you? What do you think about the A1?
Yeah, it's a cool A1. Decreased defense is huge. Obviously, 2 turns, and can turn into an AoE, which is pretty awesome as well.
Okay.
So, pretty strong A1.
Ken?
Pretty standard A1 with her brother, right? Hansel brother.
Yep.
Man, on the stream I called it a boyfriend like that. I remember the story. I'm like, oh no. And yeah, together actually it's pretty cool. Like AoE, decreased defense, and that's from A1, so that's actually very solid.
Okay.
When they are together.
All right. Fern, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I have Androck, and it's already a better A1 than Androck in his second form. The fact that it goes on. Yeah, PJ knows Androck's probably gonna get bashed today. There's 2 of us in here, so he's not safe. But yeah, it's having the 2 turn is nice. The only thing that, like, you talk about pairing him with her with Hansel. Well, the only time you'd really ever build, if you are pairing it, then you don't really need to build accuracy in her kit. But then you do, because her A1 needs accuracy, but her A3 doesn't need accuracy if you pair them. So it's kind of like, in a sense, there's some weird balance to it on, like, do you build her with accuracy? Because you don't need her with accuracy for her A3 if Hansel's in the team, but then you do if you want to land the A1. So
right.
It's a unique dynamic, but if we were just looking at it in a vacuum, just the kit, it's actually like I like it. The
Okay.
A1, just talking about the A1 in a vacuum. It's good.
Okay. And I definitely echo that sentiment, needing accuracy for the A1, not for the A3 when you have impaired. I think that's kind of like, I don't know, why not just make it the whole way, right? Gives them a little more, I guess, makes them a little more appealing. The A2, which is probably the skill I'm really most excited about. Granted, we don't know the multiplier, but I feel like if it's at least like a 1.5, 1.9 as it scales up would be great. Attacks one enemy 4 times, so it's not at random, so it's all going to hit the same person. The first hit will ignore 10%, second hit will ignore 15%, third hit will ignore 20%, and then the last final hit, fourth hit, will ignore 25% of the target's defense. If this attack kills an enemy, resets the cooldown of this skill, and then fills their turn meter by 50% on a 3-turn cooldown. I'm actually really excited about this because this solves a lot of the issues with like a Rotos, those really, really heavy HP champions. But where do you stand with this, Zero?
Yeah, so one other thought that I was having, so I want to answer what you said about the decreased defense. If you are going to use this in arena, maybe you don't build accuracy, make her full nuke, and then you don't have to worry about getting sheeped on the A1. Just counter thought to that, needing the accuracy there. Also, when they release this, and I know you guys have the inside track being official content creators, but did they mention something in their blurb about a blender comp with both of these champions too? Potentially?
No. I don't remember looking at that.
I saw something somewhere that they said, you know, they might be good for a blender comp. And if that's what they're thinking when they design / release these two, could you imagine that A1 alone hitting multiple times with an ally attacker, and both obviously Hansel and Gretel both on the team as a blender comp? So that could get really disgusting really fast. And then to answer your question on the A2, yeah, like this is going to nuke those big HP, you know, nukers. I use both the King and Taras, and that's how I kind of rely to counteract a Sun Wukong, because I have this, you know, massive defense and HP pool that Wukong normally doesn't nuke through. And if he does, I got Marishka to pick him back up. But yeah, so like this will be able to single target and slay. I kind of like it. And the fact that you come back through with that 50% turn meter, again, just gearing up that A1 potentially or whatever else if this isn't a blender comp. I don't know. But
Right,
there you go.
right. No, chat is saying that they did mention that. I usually don't read the little blurbs they put out because I don't feel like they know what they're talking about half the time on the champions. So, PJ, what do you think? A2, man.
Looking very, very solid. Like you kind of mentioned before, we're gonna be really, really good into Rotos, good affinity, gonna be good to like against UDKs and just like being able to hit around UDKs because he's the 4-hitter. Should smack in Hydra. Seems like single target in Hydra is maybe not as good, but definitely still usable. So looks like it should, depending on the multipliers, hit really hard there. I like how it's this move. It's if it kills an enemy, resets the cooldown and fills the Shimmy's turn meter. We'll get to the A3, and that is like if it doesn't kill an enemy, it reset, like it gives turn meter. Where like if it's a damage dealing move, I want them to be dead. Like I don't want them to be living after I nuke them. So I like that it's that. But yeah, it looks like a very solid A2.
Okay. Gestal, what about you?
Yeah, honestly, I think this is the best ability of all of them. A 4-hitter that progressively hits more into or ignores more defense is kind of crazy. So I would say I like this ability the best out of the 8 abilities in the 2 characters. So
Okay.
it's pretty solid.
Ken?
Yeah, very interesting ability. I also agree with the Gestal and the Blazin. I really like this is probably one of the most promising ability. This attack definitely gonna kill the target, guys, unless she have a very bad multiplier, which is it's hard to judge the DPS champion without knowing their multiplier. But I am pretty sure this ability gonna kill the champion, and it's gonna reset her cooldown and gonna fill her turn meter by 50%, so she can do like domino effect. Especially if the enemy team is super slow. About the blender comp, you can't do Blender on this stage because everybody has stone skin. So that's not part of the
closer.
end game arena.
Closer to the higher end arena, though, I see a lot of people veering away from Stone and going into Pinpoint now. Trying to just go first.
I mean, but people who veer in Pinpoint, they're probably faster than you.
True.
That's why, yeah. Also, I heard from the chief, one of my viewers, he said like he's not using stone skin anymore because the bomb champion also meta. But I'm pretty sure chief don't have a stone skin, but he definitely have a reaction. Otherwise, it's a suicide, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, like Hydra wise, yeah, I see lots of comment as well about the Hydra. So especially, I am thinking, by the way, guys, Hansel going to be guaranteed.
Hansel is going to be a guarantee.
I am thinking I cannot guarantee you that, but I'm 95% positive.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a Deck of Fate event, and it's going to be guaranteed.
Yeah. So they probably gonna do like similar like Ankara and Narcissus or stuff like that. Timid Kaja, right? Timid Kaja was also like
Timid Kaja was like that.
Yeah. Obviously, in the paper looking good, right? Both of them A1 skill, attack enemy. One of them plays a decreased defense, the other one plays a weaken debuff, right? But here is the thing, guys. If you have too much attack all enemies on the Hydra, which means you are gonna charge the head of the Wrath very quickly, you know? And end of the day, he's gonna smack you more often. So be careful, you guys need a champion to protect your team there, you know? I've been using Venus Cupidus, so basically when they attack the Cupidus while the Venus on the team, he's counter-attack them by their A1 skill, which is the attack enemy, right? And man, like, I cannot run this team without Chris on it. It's very risky, and these two of them is the heavy attack enemy. Be careful, guys, like if you don't have a champion like a Chris or stuff like that, it's going to be very dangerous to use them on the Hydra, but of course in the paper looking promising. If you can keep your team alive, sure, go for it.
Right. Fair point right there. Fair point with that part on the A1s. Firm, the A2, where do you stand with it? What do you think?
Again, I mean, like everyone says, the multipliers I think are important. I mean, it's a similar skill to Gala in a sense. She's a 3-hitter and it's 25% ignore defense. Now Gala gets if Gala has full health, she actually gets an extra turn and goes right into it. This is you kill an enemy, you get 50% turn meter, which is still nice. And again, so really I think the multipliers will determine whether or not she's better than an epic. So that's kind of I think the biggest thing. I think it's unique. It could be interesting. I think it really could smack if they build it correctly, and then could be a really if it does, it could be really nice.
Okay. I did hear some scatter about these two being a great synergy with the Unity champion together. So I unfortunately don't have their Unity champion, but I would love to see what they do. Yeah. Unfortunately, I do not have him. Let's go into the A3. Attacks all enemies, decreases the target's turn meter by 25%. If Hansel's on the team, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 50% instead. This effect cannot be resisted, so we don't need accuracy if the brother's on the team. And then fills this champion's turn meter by 20% for each enemy alive after the attack on a 3-turn cooldown. So I guess you could start off with this, go into the A2, come back to it with the A2 again if you kill somebody. I am not a fan on the fact that it requires accuracy. Granted, again, I know their selling point is going to be, well, if you have both of them, it doesn't. Can't really fit 2 arena nukers at the same time in there. Or it makes it very difficult at least. But Ken, where do you stand with the A3?
I mean, decrease turn meter part not going to work on the Hydra. We cannot decrease their turn meter unless we kill the Mischief, right? Mischief.
Yep.
Which is the one-time thing on him. And the second part, if her brother in the same team cannot resist that, which is the Hansel actually have a better ability on the A3 skill, so this is kind of useless if you are gonna use them together. Don't get me wrong, not useless, but kind of weak compared to the Hansel ability. If you are going to use her alone, like you mentioned, she need accuracy, and nobody gonna give her accuracy. Definitely not worth it for this skill.
Right. I did I did see some comments out there saying, you know, I think between the two of them, they're going to be pretty much an easy way if you have them to climb Doom Tower floors, which I guess is a fair point with everything they do, especially with the turn meter manipulation. But Gestal, what do you stand with the A3?
Yeah, this is where, I'm going in thinking, I'm hoping these champs would be, any new champs viable for Live Arena. That's like where I focus, obviously. This is where it lost me. You take this ability into Marius and you're toast. This is, I don't like turn meter, especially on a decrease turn meter on attack champ, but I don't feel like it synergizes well. It might be good in PvE, obviously, if it can affect whatever you're going against, but I don't like that in Live Arena at all.
Okay. All right. PJ?
Yeah, so just like reading the kit, it looks like a solid move, reading the move, it looks like a solid move, like it's AoE, decrease the turn meter, but again, like, you have to build accuracy. If you don't bring Hansel, you're probably not gonna, like, having them both on the same team, you're filling up another slot that someone else can't take. Excuse me. And then like the decreased turn meter is not gonna do anything in Hydra, like Ken mentioned. Tough to use in Arena, like Gestal mentioned, can definitely be used in other PvE areas like Doom Tower. I know Fern's a big fan of Thor in Doom Tower right now. I think just like is his new Seer, or just like Seer just clears everything for him. And I know Thor was, a lot of people just got Thor recent fusion. But I guess if you missed out Thor, you could get two of these champions to do the same thing that Thor does by himself, or Armand, who's another champion that can do a lot of stuff in Doom Tower. And then fills the champion's turn meter. If they're alive, like that could be, I guess, okay in Hydra. You get a little bit of turn meter if you don't kill them. But again, like I mentioned, I feel like if in Arena you want your nukers to kill them with their like moves. So if they're living, I don't know. Yeah, it's an okay move, but I just don't know exactly where you're gonna be that good in game.
Okay. Fern, where do you stand on the A3, brother?
Kind of like what Gestal was saying. Is it an attack champion? Is it a turn meter champion? Like what are you building? Like do you try and make her just insanely fast and have her just come out, open up with that A3 with the brother, and now just everyone all of a sudden the opponent has 50% turn meter reduced. Like I said, it kind of like PJ saying, this feels more Doom Tower wave-ish. Like the kit, it's like they don't know where the kit. It's like, is it Hydra on A1? It's Arena on A2, and then it's probably Doom Tower on A3. It's like I don't think they knew what they were putting together here.
Okay. All
so
right.
I mean, it's good. It's I don't know.
It definitely feels like they're just trying to help a little bit in every area of the game for some of the players out there. I get you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Zero. What about you?
Yeah, I look at this and think Tormund's gonna shut her completely down with all her turn meter boosting. Like she's just gonna be frozen half the fight, and then get nuked into the dirt. Yeah, I think it'd be nice to pair with Hansel, and would be kind of crazy. Now I've got my Rotos in a 9-piece Merciless set, and it's dirty. I would love to see what she could do in a 9-piece Merciless set too. You know, you get the 35%, plus you put her Helm Smasher in the A2, plus the chance to keep going and boosting turn meter. I don't know, make her as fast as possible. It'd be interesting to kind of see how it works. But just the one thought I had when I first saw a kid, and just throw this out to the community, was she looks like a legendary version of Sniper, even though Sniper, but that's, you know, Sniper's like one of the champions they first give you in the game, and I know she's like an uncommon, crappy, whatever, but she's got the hood and whatever, and the triple dagger on the legs. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Even though Sniper's Dark Elf and she's not, but I thought it was kind of cool to have like a legendary version of that free one that everyone gets right at the rip.
I think you were just thinking of a cosplay of what you want to do outside of Raid, but
Look, she does have blonde hair.
I mean, I was not. Well, never mind. Okay, so it definitely it feels like the A3 here is just, I don't know. I like the first part to it, but the turn meter manipulation part just kind of feels like, and when I mean the first part, I mean just attacks the all enemies. But the turn meter manipulation part is going to be a problem, right? You do have champions like Mountain Thinker saying you got Marius that's going to counter her pretty hard, right, with the A1. And then Tormund's going to be another issue for her. I guess the only thing you'll be able to do is maybe put her in like a 4-piece pinpoint. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. I think Ken is sending us something here.
Leak.
A leak. Hold on, we got a. Looks like a couple more
We got
things
the
here.
witch. We got the witch.
Oh,
Hansel,
okay.
Gretel, and the witch.
Hansel, Gretel, and the witch. Okay, so we know that the mythical champion is going to be a witch.
Is she the witch?
Yeah.
The
Yep.
Mythical's witch?
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's kind of cool.
Where'd you get that from?
That's on. I saw it on Twitter yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
what-
official. Yeah.
All right. Let's look at the passive now. Right, fills the champion's turn meter by 50% whenever an enemy is granted a extra turn. If Hansel is on the same team, fills their turn meter by 50% whenever an enemy gets an extra turn. I guess the question I want to ask here is, do you guys also feel like, because they both have a similar effect on their passives, will they stack if being on the same team? And then if Hansel is killed, instantly activates her at A3. Before we go too far though, there was a comment left on the video when I did this, and I was just thinking like Rotos, Relentless sets, Merciless sets. 00 Black Hero 00 says, keep in mind, Mythicals get an extra turn when they change forms, so she can also counter them too, not just Rotos. So, what are we thinking about the passive? Let's go to Zero first.
Yeah, so I just started working with Rotos. I started using Glacid, right? Because Glacid is has revive but defense up. Which when I built him in the Merciless, my stuff was limited, but I ended up with like almost like 4,900 defense on him, which is kind of crazy. And but also has the attack up and then increases the damage. But that Glaissive A3 also grants an extra turn if it doesn't revive anyone. So like I read this, I'm like, ooh, that's a hard counter. And that's a great point on Mythicals. I do like that if they're going to give us fusions and or legendaries, that they might need to have some sort of mechanic to help deal with some of the mythical stuff that they can do. Especially, I mean, some of them have just been nerfed, or not nerfed, buffed, which is crazy too. So yeah, I like this a lot, right? Like especially like because I have Sigfried as my mythical that I've gotten outside of Mikage, right? So like, if you kill the rest of the team and he goes, like his whole thing is boom, I go and then I'm going to res my team. But if she can cut in and stop him, that'd be kind of
Right. Well, it'd be kind of hard to stop him because he does get the block damage. And I don't know what else, because she doesn't do anything on the black damage to ignore block damage. So, PJ, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, so I was going to mention the mythical thing. It kind of really depends on how it works, because I still think the mythical is going to get their turn before they cut in. I mean, I think it could be like a very rare, because it's 50%. They get a 50% turn meter fill. So I still feel like most of the time the mythical is going to take their turn and do what they need to do. So depending on how the interaction is, I think it's like a good idea. Like they're trying to get a mythical counter, but I don't think it's gonna necessarily work as intended or how they want it to work.
Okay. Gestal?
Yeah, I was equating this a little bit to like Xena, but Xena seems to like it. Like if it's Siphi, you're putting up a ton of buffs, right? And Xena's gonna go right away. This doesn't necessarily guarantee it, right? So I feel like that's where it's a little different. But yeah, I don't think it's bad. It's interesting. Again, I don't love turn meter on attack champs. Like, I don't know. I don't love attack champs in general. They're normally too squishy, except for like Rotos. So yeah, whatever. I think it's interesting. I think it could help out. Like I'm thinking Hydra for the pair of them, honestly, if I even go for it.
Okay.
But I think this could be helpful there. Do they ever the one does take 2 turns, or is that just 2 turns?
2 of them, I think. Rat and,
2 of them takes double
suffering.
turns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Suffering
So
and the
like
heading.
that might be. Yeah. So that might be nice there. I don't know.
Okay. Ken, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with the PJ and the Gestal. Like, feeling Tormentor 50% doesn't mean she's gonna cut the extra turn. I don't think extra turn can possibly cut in. No, you cannot cut the extra turn.
No, you can't cut
Doesn't
in
matter
on
your
the extra turn.
Yeah,
It just boosts
she's just gonna
their
get a turn
meter, so they get to
after
go
they.
next.
Yeah, and obviously, if there's a mythical champion got the extra turn, like they passed the mythical champion, but they either gonna look at her or they either gonna kill her, which is killing her is not that hard thing, you know. It's attack DPS. Like I agree with the Gestal. I also not big fan of the attack DPS champion unless they are like Rotos, Wukong, Sigfront. You know, there has to be something special. Like
Right.
her special things is not that great. You know, if to her A2 skill, give her extra turn instead of the like filling Tormentor by 50%, like a Rotos A3 skill, maybe can be decent. But again, end of the day, we are facing. You know, if you go in first, you are going to face a stone skin meta.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they don't have a stone skin, they definitely have reaction accessories. Like, it's a thing. Like,
Right.
doesn't matter. I mean, maybe she attacked 4 times, right? Reaction, even you have a 3 reaction, I don't think attack 4 times, you know, it can protect all of the damage, right? Maybe that can still kill the target. But again, you can only kill the 1 target. I don't think A3 skill gonna hit hard. I believe that her big nuke is the A2, which is a single target. But yeah, it's still cool ability for the Hydra wise stuff like that. Like we mentioned earlier, there's a 2-hit get an extra turn. It can help us to get more turn. Obviously, it's not a bad thing. In the current Hydra too, man. In the current Hydra, I don't know, man. Are we gonna talk about that? It's so stupid. Like they. I mean, I didn't notice that too much on the Nightmare difficulty because the HP bar is not that. I mean, HP bar is very thick, right? When we kill them, they are not coming back very fast. But on the hard difficulty, bro, like most of the time, I'm dealing 0 damage because they come back quickly because I kill them. I kill them twice, and yeah, like my damage was 2 billion, and I got like what 570, I think.
Okay.
570 million. Yeah.
Not sure what happened there, guys, but we did lose PJ.
PJ drop, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll. I'm gonna give it a second before I start rearranging some things here. That said, Fern, what about you, man? What do you think about the A2?
A2 or the passive?
The passive. Sorry, the passive.
Yeah. If it was a cut in on the extra turn, I think it would be that would be awesome. You know, because I look at like Lady Mikage, I look at like Star Siege, like they're gonna, you know, open up and go right into you know, they're gonna change forms and then go into the CC. Well, if you could cut in on that, great. So it's like, hey, that's great. Gretel got boosted to be the first one to get stunned by those 2 mythicals. Like, who cares? Like, congratulations. Like, if they could cut in on that extra turn, that would be huge. Again, I just think it's a kit where I don't know if they really kind of understood how it's synergized. That, like, it's interesting, it's really nice, but like I don't know where this, you know, again, I don't see how this cuts in on a mythical. If it could cut in on a mythical, it's great, but it's not going to. All it's doing is getting to be the first to get CC'd. So it's. I like the concept, I like the thought process, but I don't know if it actually will be effective.
Okay. I feel like there we go. He's back. He's back. All right. We'll have to fix it here in just a second, chat. Let me let him settle in and we'll get it fixed. But overall, I'm actually very excited about this fusion, and I really feel like it's gonna be a decent one to have, right? Granted, we did just have Thor, and Thor was a really solid fusion, but I think overall, I'm gonna suggest that people go for this. Where do you guys stand? Should the community be going for it? Should they not? Fern, I'll let you go first.
I think you should go for every fusion, to be honest. Regardless if it's a bad fusion. We just did that. Who was the last one? Jeroboam? I don't even know what his name is.
Jeroboam.
Yeah, so, I mean, we did him. I think he stinks, but I think you should go for every fusion you possibly can, because you never know when they get buffed, when certain content comes out, and they could actually be very usable. So I'm going to always say go for every fusion you can.
Okay. All right. Ken?
I actually ask on my community. I ask on the YouTube. There's a 140 vote. 36% I'm going for it. 31% I will skip, and 34% will decide after they see the multiplier, which is I also recommend it for the people. It's a DPH champion, right? End of the day, we need to know their multiplier. It's really hard to judge without seeing the multiplier. Good thing is we are gonna be know before the fusion started, guys. You know, here 3 content creator gonna test them on the test server, so we can judge them after that. But even her multiplier is good. I'm not even using rotos. I mean, let me tell like that on these days.
Okay. Okay. I thought you just lagged out right there because you just kind of like paused. I was like, I'm waiting for an answer. I'm like,
I mean,
all right, Gestal, what about you?
I feel like champions are like, you gotta go almost like on an account by account basis. Like this champion could be the best champ for a new account, and this champ could go right into a vault for an older account. So it's definitely account by account basis. I used to say there's really no good reason to not go for fusion. If you're doing Ultra Nightmare on farm, Nightmare on farm, and you're getting the shards, then you can do it, right? Like that's kind of the plateau you got to get to be able to do fusions. But I've been listening to Kenpachi a little too much, I think, and I'm now like more so on the free to play, and I'm 2.5 years in on the free to play. I'm starting to skip them because A, I have all these champs that I just don't have the resources to build, and B, I'm missing out on some really good guaranteed champs instead. So I've actually on my main account I go for them all. I'm gotta collect them all, whatever. But on the free to play, I've actually changed my focus, and I'm only going for. I'm trying to keep my resources as high as I possibly can, and I'm probably going to start looking more for guaranteed as opposed to doing all the fusions.
Okay, so like that guaranteed CFE that's coming tomorrow, you got enough shards for that?
No, I do not have enough for that. That's something I would obviously go for on my free to play account. Otherwise, I'll never get CFE.
PJ, what about you, man? What do you think? Should people go for the fusion?
Yeah, it's obviously we talked about earlier Burnout. If you're feeling Burnout, she seems okay. She seems kind of like she's average in everywhere, but not great anywhere. She's just like if you're early to mid game, she could definitely be very useful for you. PvE, PvP, even some Hydra. If you end up getting the duo, could be an interesting combo. I always say try to get every fusion you can if you're up to it. Never know if they're gonna get buffed or when the new content might come out and they're really useful there. And it being a duo is interesting if you are able to obtain both. So yeah, I would say if you can, she looks decent.
Okay. Zero?
Yeah, so I think y'all all raised very valid points today, and probably lowered my expectations down a lot. But I will say they have been quick to make changes sometimes to different champions. And I think the way her kit is laid out now, it's not, like you said, average at best. But maybe with 1 or 2 tweaks, like maybe that 50% turns into a cut-in, or take an extra turn after the A2 versus the 50% turn meter. Like one little small tweak like that could make her from average to I wouldn't say SS tier or anything like that, but could be, A plus type thing. But looking at this couple specifically, and to give you my history, so I did do the Jetney Alsgore one, and they have been trash. Honestly,
I've gotten messed up by them in like Siege quite a bit. They've came into Siege quite a bit.
Well, I feel like Jetney just does not hit hard at all. Now, where I've used them has been Cursed City, right? Is like the pair to go in and do some of that. And having another unkillable, again, in that restricted content is nice. So that's the only time that I've really seen. I feel like they hit like trash. This is my experience with it. And then I skipped Timid and Kaja, speaking of Burnout on Fusions. So I specifically skipped them. And I think that was last Halloween, wasn't it?
Yep. I think that was April Fool's, wasn't it?
No, Halloween. I remember that because I made a thumbnail about the like trash on the Halloween can, and I said like this is the trash fusion. Then I got a 2 copy of the Timid. Even I skipped the fusion.
And then what was it 2 years ago? Was it Morgan 2 years ago? Was the Halloween fusion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Morgan's decent.
Yeah.
So she is, yes, and she got better with the newer content, and I guess that's what I'm saying with this, and what I would say to everybody watching, right? Is I skipped both Kaja and or Timid, and I skipped Morgan. Now I've pulled 3 Morgans since, and Morgan has been amazing, especially against Alsgore or whatever.
Amius.
Amius, whatever. All the A names, they all can kiss.
Hey, whoa.
Sorry. Yeah, so I've skipped the last 2 Halloween fusions. I guess that's when I took my burnout and my break between everything in the past. And I looked at Morgan specifically and said, "Oh, I already have Lydia, so why do I need a Morgan?"
Right.
Yeah, the unblockable heal, that's cool, but it didn't really matter until they gave us Cursed City. Anyway,
Right.
long story short is, I think for this couple, they have a lot more synergies than most couples have that come out. Again, I think Jetney and Alsgore have a little bit, but not as much. And one little small tweak could make them like the next king and queen. They're not going to be because Void and all that, right? But who knows? And I think Gestal hit the nail on the head too, right? These are nukers versus HP based nukers, because they could be really glass cannon-y type thing. So we'll see. But in my opinion, yeah, if you get a chance to go for a couple, even though I skipped the last couple with 10 minutes.
Okay, so he's not been muted.
What do you think, Blazin? You tell us what you think.
I think you should go for her if you have the resources. I think her A2 is going to be really strong. I'm not a big fan of the A3 and the passives, but I feel like overall she's definitely going to be somebody that works out well. Let's talk about her partner in crime, Hansel, though, right? A1 attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a weaken, 25% for 2 turns if Gretel is on the team. It now boosts itself up to an AoE, gets an extra turn for any enemies under debuffs, and then it's a 50% chance on an AoE. Ken, what do you think? A1.
I mean, when you guys check their skill, both of them has very nice synergy. And her A1 was placed at decreased defense, and he placed a weaken debuff. Obviously, first thing to come to mind when we need a decreased defense and the weaken Hydra, right? But like we mentioned earlier about the Gretel, going to be a little bit risky to use them on the Hydra, especially if you don't have a critical on your team, because both of their skill A attack enemy. It's become attack enemy. In general, it's a good combo, but risky to use it on the Hydra wise. Beside that, blender comp can work, if you give them a little bit accuracy, because this skill cannot be resisted, so you need accuracy for that. The problem is, I would say that everybody with stone skill, right? Could be useful for the siege though. We actually forget to mention the siege. The condition rooms, like secret order champion only. I've been also thinking that actually, especially Hansel A3 skill has a lockout, right? Then if we look to secret order champion, there is also another champion who can counter-attack the lockout champion Vitreous, Void Lego. So I don't know. We kind of have options against them, even on the secret order room for the siege. But obviously, people need to be victories for that. So yeah, it can be good for that. To be honest, for the siege content, guys, there is no bad champion. Like any champion can be good on the siege for these condition rooms. Like especially use one specific faction only, because you are also going to limit your enemies. You know.
Right. Okay. Just a real quick announcement here. We've currently got between YouTube and Twitch over 100 viewers. Thank you all so much. Great job, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Gestal, what about you, brother?
Yeah, the A1's cool, I guess. Kind of, obviously mixed pairs up well. You're getting that decreased defense and the weaken. Always looking for those kind of together for max DPS. I have to say I was a little upset that they were like he was attack, like they're both attack. Like I thought he would be maybe HP or defense. That would have made it a little bit more interesting, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't fit the lore, whatever. But I think it would at least made it more interesting if he was like HP based or something. I don't know.
Okay. PJ, A1.
Yeah, solid. Pairs very well with the partner, Hansel, like we mentioned earlier. Even by himself, a lot of times for like Hydra, a lot of times we have decreased defense in the team, but it's kind of hard to squeeze that weaken in. So even though it's not like an AoE, I mean, if you have Hansel as AoE, but if you don't have her, you can still get that weaken in on the A1 if you bring in ally attacks with other people. So, yeah, pairs well with. Pairs well. Solid.
Okay. Zero.
Yep, I'll be quick.
You better be.
Yeah, obviously defense and weekend together, awesome. Again, the idea of a blender comp would be kind of nice. Thinking Podrick would be good in arena with these two. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Because again, that's 4 hits just for them alone.
Right.
Could get nasty.
Fair point. Fern, what do you think? A1?
Yeah, I like it. It's like everyone said. It fits well with Gretel's kit very well.
Okay. I like how you guys are all keeping your answers short now after I just muted Zero. Everybody's like, I don't want to be muted next. Don't worry, guys. You're not all long-winded. The A2 attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore shields and unkillable. Pretty cool. Grants an extra turn if this kills an enemy on a 3-turn cooldown. I like it. I feel like if it ignored Stone Skin, not Stone Skin, no, Ally Protection, would have been a great counter towards like, what's his name? Necrit? But there's also, who's that Mythical that does it? You have... is it Fronley that has the unkillable? That brings in the ally protection, or is it?
Yes, on the second floor.
Kismak has it too, correct?
Yeah,
Gizzy got it, and the first form of Garl has.
Yeah.
Or no, that's just unkillable.
So I feel like if it did that, I think that'd be really great because I really hate Gizmak Gestal. So you're gonna go first.
Yeah.
What do you think about the A2?
Actually, and I didn't mention this about Gretel. This is, I think, his best ability. But what Gretel doesn't bring any sort of ignore anything, which is kind of what you almost need in Live Arena at this point.
You have a ignore defense.
Yeah, ignore defense. Yeah. But no ignore unkillable, no ignore block damage, no stone skin. Like those, you need to have one of those 3 if you're gonna be brought into a live arena match as like a soft nuker like this, as a class cannon. The fact that he's ignoring unkillable is nice. It's not, I don't know, swift parry procs I guess could be really annoying, but I don't know if the swift parry would proc, and then if the kill would happen. But whatever. Maybe you hit it after that. So it's nice that there is the unkillable there, but I don't know. It doesn't thrill me.
Okay. Big shout out to Priest Guardian there. Thank you very much for that super chat. Appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you. EJ, what do you think?
Yeah, it's okay. Two hitter, ignore shield, and killable. The extra turn is nice if it kills an enemy. It's okay. It's decent. Not really too much to say about it. I don't know. I feel like it's pretty just like it is what it is. Like shields now in arena are definitely not as good anymore. So it's just another thing that's hitting through shield. Yeah, hopefully it smacks pretty hard. It is interesting that they're both I think Roadblock mentioned it, they're both like a attack nukers. Usually they do like a support and attack, or at least switch up the like defense HP support or something like that. But yeah, it's decent. For Hydra, there's no really unkillable unless they steal it from you. There's a few shields that they can get, but it's okay.
Okay. Zero?
Yeah, the one thing that makes this look good to me personally is the fact that it's attack one enemy 2 times, so you get around Ultimate Death Knight, right? So you can at least land 1 hit on your intended target. So, you know, you're obviously your first hit's going to Death Knight. Hell, you might even kill him. That'd be kind of cool, right? As part of this, and then get your extra turn. So just that's the one thing I would say is a major positive. Obviously, ignoring shield and unkillable is great. But yeah, I'm curious to see if this will go around the ones like your Leoriuses and champs like that pop it up as part of their passive. Does it ignore that? Again, if it's a 2-hitter and you're hitting a Leorius and maybe the first one triggers it and then the second one goes through it, maybe that's how that'll work. But at least they baked in a double hit if that's the way it's going to work, and or help against Death Knight.
Okay. Ken?
I mean, we was talking about Gretel, right? Gretel A2 skill. I was saying like she's definitely gonna kill the target, but when she kills the target, she's gonna get 50% Terminator field. Hansel, in the other hand, I don't think he can kill the target because Ultimate Death Knight is the meta like the Zero said, and he's also weak affinity against Ultimate Death Knight. Second attack could be kill champion like Wukong maybe, you know, but could be useful against a Siegfried. I believe he's getting unkillable buff, right, Siegfried?
Yeah,
block damage, but
damage.
you can't do anything against it. So like a Rotos, if he goes and procs it, he's gonna get the block damage and he doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I was also gonna say that like shield and unkillable buff, I don't think they are meta buff at the moment. I think the meta buff on these days is the block damage, right?
Right.
Like, there is a special after the Odin release it. Man, I wish he ignoring block damage instead of the unkillable buff. I think that will make him a little bit much better. But unless this skill has a crazy high multiplier, I don't think he can kill anything.
Okay. Fern?
I completely agree. I think the skill stinks. I think it's absolutely awful. Unless it just hits insanely hard, I don't see any value in this. I wish they put a little bit more of the girls kit in the A2. Like honestly, what they should have just done is brought one champion out here and just take the best of the two of them and put it together into one kit. I just think they half-assed. I think they half-heartedly put 2 champions together when they could have put 1 good champion together.
Fair point. I'm reading chat here over on the YouTube side, and Hens8, Sun8, yeah. All right. I don't know how to pronounce that one, but
just call him Alex.
Alex, there we go. Makes a really good point here. Does anybody else notice that they basically took Masked Fearmonger into Shiro and kind of made him into Hansel? I mean, I think he's kind of right here. It's almost as you know, it's like the Temu version of those two guys. And speaking about Temu version, I got to talk about the Temu version of John Wick. Hey Ken, can you put down your hair real quick?
Huh?
Put down your hair.
I can't. It's a tie.
Yeah, take it off. We all want to see
No,
the
I don't want to. No. I'm very super budget John Wick, guys. I'm super budget. F2 people.
But
you can see it on my stream. Tease.
All right, let's talk about the A3 here. Attacks all enemies will ignore 15% of the target's defense. Also will increase the cooldown of random skill by 2 turns. I'm not a big fan of the random skill part. Again, this requires accuracy. Definitely not something I like. If Gretel's on the same team, we'll ignore 30% of the target's defense instead. And will also increase all of the enemy's skills by 2 turns instead. This cannot be resisted on a 3-turn cooldown. So we get a lockout. I don't know. I feel like the Gretel part is just get rid of the accuracy requirement, right? Get rid of it on the first part. Make it like 20 or 30% decrease or ignore defense. I feel like that would be better. Sorry. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of having to build them with accuracy, not having to build them with accuracy. But that said, Zero, where do you stand with this?
I mean, you're ignoring defense. I mean, that's always cool, right? And then you're increasing the cooldown of skills. Yeah, I don't know. This seems like the the least. I don't know, in my opinion, useful one. But ignoring, having a little bit of a effect like that again. Yeah, it's just okay. I guess. Yeah, if Gretel's on the same team, 2 turns instead. Is it gonna win you a fight once every 100 times you fight? Maybe you hit an arbiter or something and block their revive or something like that. That might help you, but I don't know. Not a big fan of this one.
Not a big fan of this one. All right, PJ.
Yeah, I liked the move. It's just annoying how they are you gonna build accuracy? Not gonna build accuracy? But I think one thing you could do with him, I guess, in arena is build him with a little bit of accuracy and try to gamble on locking out some of their nukers or some of their low res champions and just kind of screw them over a little bit. Obviously it's way better if Gretel's on the team, but it's annoying to have to rely on bringing both of them every time. But yeah, ignoring the defense is pretty solid. AoE, cooldown, random skill is definitely not bad. But it's gonna how much accuracy you're gonna bring is gonna cut down on your damage. So it is a little tricky to build, but I could see that being a thing where you build a little bit of ACK and trying to lock out their damage dealers.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe if they just had their passive was just always will have so much accuracy for attack or something like that, because especially with this guy's passive, I'm not a big fan of it. Gestal, what do you think?
Yeah, this is very meh. I don't unless it hits super hard. I don't know. I don't really like it.
Okay. Ken.
It's a weird ability. So especially when you use him with the Gretel, he's going to ignore 30% instead of the 15% of their defense, and at the same time look out. Bro, are you gonna hit hard or you are gonna just make them suffer more? What kind of logic is that? You are gonna ignore their 30% defense.
Yeah.
If this attack going to hit hard, they should be dead, right?
Right.
And if they are not dead, then you are gonna look at them, which means this attack probably not gonna hit that hard, right? Because this is why there is a lookout ability. But here is the thing: there is lots of lookout champion on these days. Not only lookout, there is also like Star Sage, block active skill, stuff like that, is a debuff kind of lookout, but it's a zero problem for me. I mean, I'm not saying Star Sage zero problem for me. He's not only that one, but I just using champion like Arix against them, and especially he's and the Gretel attack champion. All I'm gonna do use the Arix A1 skill, which is attack all enemy, and they're gonna dead. I don't have to use my skill to kill them. They're squishy champion. And obviously the current meta in the let's say not many people big fan of the Arix, but even end game meta right now, maybe Gestal can agree with me. Horse, bro. Even the people have a lots of mythical champions still using the horse, man.
Yep.
He's so strong, and guess what? His A1 also attack enemy.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
I will say the A3 is really good in PvE. A lot of people don't have any lockouts, And
True.
so like getting just any kind of lockout for like Doom Tower or any kind of PvE can be really strong. Especially if you have Gretel and it's non-resisted and 2-turn on all like everything, like that's really nice.
True.
Or just use Armas and stun them and still they're Terminator.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. There you go.
Which is it's
well-
more safe, you know, they cannot attack you. If
True.
you look at them, they can still attack you.
Look,
True.
they're gonna nerf Romans, so
They're-
I can't just say that.
They're not going to do that. All right, Fern, what do you think, man? A3 here.
Well, I think if they're gonna nerf our mons, they should nuke first, though.
Whoa,
we can get into that a little
Okay,
bit.
this is the last time you're coming on the podcast. Triple nut owner here. Come on.
I just don't think Plarium knows what they do. I honestly think what they have is they have like a bunch of different like kits written on a board, and someone went in and they're like, "Oh no, the Holloway fusions do," and they're like, "Well, just grab whichever kit and just throw it into something." It's like, what? I don't understand how this synergizes. Like, are you building him fast like Warlord or Yumeko to get the lockout going? And then he doesn't bring the damage because you had to bring him fast, or are you going to bring him slow? And it's like, all right, great. Well, now you're a go second team. Well, who cares that you locked him out because they already used their main skills to kill you already. So I don't understand like what the point of the kit is outside of now it's like PJ saying, is it just wave content? But you have an arena aura. You're ignoring shield and kill. I don't know. I just don't think they really put any thought process into this whole thing. It's like I said, I wish they kind of combined the two champions. It's okay, but like, let's say Star Stage, for example, or Lady Mikage, they get their extra turn. Well, now both Hansel and Gretel get boosted, but guess what? You get stunned on because when they actually change forms, now they stun you and you're done. You didn't even get to use a lockout at all. You walked right into a stun is what happened. So I just don't understand how this is going to synergize that great. These kits don't make sense to me, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm like missing something completely, but I don't think it's a kit. I just wish they built either full damage or they said this is going to be a very fast lockout champion for you.
Yeah. I'm going to back you up on that, where I don't think they really kind of look at it. They're just throwing, darts at a dartboard saying this is the skill that we're going to use. But as for the Nerf Gina thing, the community or the chat here has it. I think this is going to be the last time you're on here. That said,
Yeah, we don't want to hear the truth, I guess.
that said, let's talk about the passive here, right? Reflects all fears and true fear debuffs from this champion to the attacker. If Gretel is on the same team, we'll do the same thing for her. I don't like this at all. As far as I'm aware, there's not, maybe other than Mesamil, there's not a lot of fear in Arena. Maybe in some, I can't even think of many areas, because like even the Taras Marichka type of thing, it's not like, he's not going to get a fear because he's not part of the faction that is opposed to Taras. But,
Can I tease you something?
Go ahead.
That which mythical has a fear ability?
Which
Mesamil.
Yeah, Mesamil.
Which mythical? The upcoming one. Which? The
Oh,
girl.
Oh, the witch.
Okay, so Ken's giving us the leak here.
Hansel, Witch Hunter. Hansel, Witch Hunter.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ken's giving us a hint here, guys. The Mythical is going to. Did you get access to the test server and we don't know about it yet?
No.
But
I'm Supreme Club.
you're Supreme Club.
No, I'm not.
And then if Hansel gets, if Gretel gets killed, then he activates his A3 again, which I'm not a big fan of. But I feel like definitely, I don't know, this whole passive just needs to be trashed and redone. Maybe ignore Stone Skin is kind of where I feel on this. But Zero, what do you think?
Yeah, so some of the previous meta, obviously the meta is constantly shifting left and right. But I would say a couple years ago, Madame Suri and Leo both bring fear in Arena. And I think Suri, now that Feral and Pinpoint are back in or have been introduced to the game, Madame Suri is potentially could come back into the meta. I know I'm starting to use her a little bit more personally. But I don't know. Again, this isn't the one that, like you said, just screams. Happens all the time. I think Taras brings it, but he only brings it for a different faction, not this faction, right?
Right.
I know a lot of the undead factions kind of do fear and true fear. I think if anything, it fits a pretty cool theme, but us as players don't care as much about the theme as we do about the mechanics of what are you going to do for me? What have you done for me lately? And I don't know how much this is going to really do for the game, other than, maybe that new mythical that's coming in can drop in some knowledge bombs here. Maybe they're, super heavy, fear heavy witch thing. And then in this case, again, it kind of fits more of the theme than it does functionality, but I don't know. We'll see. I do like the active though. 3-turn cooldown on that. I don't know. At least it looks like there's no books there, but that could that win you a game? You throw everybody stuff into cooldown, and then the rest of your team carries you. But again, we've already talked about it ad nauseum. You're bringing in 2 slots, right, to do what some can bring with 1 slot, right? So I don't know how good that's going to be.
Fair. PJ.
Yeah, so one interesting idea or thought I had, I'm not sure how this is gonna work, but in Hydra, like, is it gonna get rid of the fear, or like reflect it back on the?
Nope.
You're just gonna eat the fear.
Yep.
So yeah, ideally, I think it would've been cool if both champions were on the team. It would have been like, I don't know if it'd been too strong, but like somehow he would have removed the fears or true fears or reflected them, and somehow it would work in Hydra. That would have been like a cool synergy, and their other part of their kit works in Hydra, so I thought that would have been cool. But yeah, seeing that that's not gonna work. Yeah, true fear is just not really like that prevalent in the game right now. I mean, maybe like you guys mentioned, in the future they're gonna try to bring it back and make it more meta or common in the game, but yeah, it's all right. I wish they would have done something more in Hydra and like would have worked against those.
Yeah, so the way Hydra is coded, because I really wanted to bring like Aislinn in there and kind of not have to worry about that. It's kind of irresistible, so there's no way for that to happen, unfortunately. And we have asked
Plarium.
Plarium
Something, no? I mean, Shamel cleanses it. I mean, they could have done something to like.
Yeah, so it still has to be applied, and then can be cleansed, but it can't be, exactly, it can't be reflected. Timberwolf, thank you very much for becoming a member. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. Let's go to Ken next. What do you think?
If you guys saw a champion with a fear or the true fear ability, that champion is a trash, first of all. And I'm worrying about the next mythical champion, which is she have these abilities. Her first form and her second form have it. I see something. Somebody actually mentioned a good thing. Fear, you cannot trust the fear, and there is a high chance you can get a ship, right? Like, if you are gonna risk your champion to get the ship, you need to use more guarantee CC debuff, like a stun debuff, freeze debuff, or like, one of them, right? Fear has a 50% chance to proc, guys. So fear either 50% chance can save your life or do nothing. So nobody gonna risk that, right? Unless this upcoming mythical champion gonna be with some different synergy about it. But I got a comment there on the Twitch chat. Imru80 actually mentioned that if they put this new upcoming mythical champion on the replace with the Odin dungeon, and we know she have a fear ability, maybe we need something to counter her. And in this scenario, Hansel can be actually, I think, how to say that, useful, Yeah. But this is like, we don't know is that gonna be happen. There is a chance, of course. Other than that, I believe this passive effect only for lore against the witch, Active effect is cool, but like, if they kill the Gretel, they probably also gonna kill you, Hansel, because you are also attack DPS. So I don't think the active effect gonna work.
Okay. I didn't think about the event dungeon type part there. That would be kind of cool, especially
they said they have more plan for that. Yeah,
that is true. I figured they were going to do something around the Winter Veil or something. But Gestal, where do you stand on the passive, man?
This is fear. Fear is horrible. You're putting out a debuff, just as Ken just said. You're putting out a debuff to potentially get sheeped, or 50-50 that if it does land, 50-50 if it procs. I gotta tell you though, what I feel like anytime I have it, one, the Tars that put it on me, on my Siffy, did not get sheeped, and two, it procs 100% of the time. So maybe you should get it, because it is pretty good, but yeah, whatever. He's reflecting them.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I whatever. Fear, man. I think it's a terrible ability. Obviously, now that Ken says it too, obviously it's got to be something to do with the witch and the witch fearing it. That's the only thing that really makes sense as to even put it into his kit. Honestly, it's such a dated ability, like a buff or debuff. Like, who wants it?
Right. Very outdated. Fair point. Fair point.
Can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead.
So when it says instantly activates Baneful Burst, does that even mean if it's on cooldown, right?
Correct.
Yes.
It just automatically happens. Yep.
Like Heprexical, I think.
Yeah, it works just like Hefrak. Fern, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just same thing. It's, you know, I wish, kind of like what PJ was saying, like if there was no cooldown and it worked on the Hydra, then, I mean, not that the kit's really designed for Hydra at all. It's really not, outside of maybe the A1. It's just, I don't know. It's, I mean, I know Plarium hasn't actually gone into Arena in probably, how long has the game been around for 5 years? So they haven't been in Arena ever. So it's just, I don't understand how the kit works.
Are you trying to say that Plarium doesn't play their game?
Yeah, I'm not sure Plarium knows they have a game. So
well, I will tell you this much. I know that the community managers we discuss with do actually play, because, you know, we have to, as creators, we have to friend them on Discord. And so it does come up like, this person is playing Raid Shadow Legends. So I will tell you that some of their community managers are. I don't know about any of the higher ups.
Yeah, I don't. It's a kit that, like, I don't know. I don't know if they were sitting there and being like, oh wow. Well, and again, maybe they're thinking, oh well, we'll build out this mythical champion and that's going to be used in Arena, and then this will be the counter for it. Maybe that's along the lines. But if they were building it based off of something that's been happening before, there was really nothing happening before outside of Taurus. But Taurus doesn't fear this faction at all. So, yeah, I don't understand where the kit would have come from outside of them just trying to maybe forecast something, but that's us speculating.
Okay.
So outside of speculation, I don't get the kit. I don't like it.
All right. So what I do know that is this champion is going to be part of a Deck of Fate event. I don't know whether it's going to be shards or stones, but knowing Plarium, what they've done, it is going to most likely be stones. Or shards, maybe both. Who knows? They might just go this way. I mean, there's been a lot of bad publicity lately. Community hasn't really been happy with a lot of things they've been doing. So if you guys do think you want to go for both of these, I would save your stones and I would save any of the shards you have. Don't go for anything unnecessary because you will be tempted. That said, will you guys be going for both of these champions? Yes or no? Ken?
I mean, I like to see their multiplier, but even their multiplier is good. I don't see the usage them on my arena, on my account, but my account is an anti-game account, guys, and can be different on your perspective. I personally don't like this thing, you know, hey, this champion can be get buff in blah blah year later. The champion can be good for the upcoming content, but like, I don't have that luxury to go every fusion. By risking, they have a chance to become a good on the future. Like,
okay,
it's a future Kenpachi problem, not today Kenpachi problem.
So Ken's playing the game right here, right now. He's not thinking down the line, right? Fair point. Fair point. Chat. What about you guys? Will you guys be going for both of them? Keep in mind that it's going to most likely be soul stones and shards. Gestal, what about you? Will you be going for both of them?
Definitely not on the free to play. On the main account, I'll probably go for Gretel, just cause. Why not? I'm not gonna do a deck of fate unless the deck of fate is very, very friendly. I'm not gonna do it. That last deck of fate was atrocious. I didn't go for that one, and if it's anything like that, I won't go for this one either.
Right. Okay. PJ?
The fusion I'll probably do. Like I mentioned, I try to do all the fusions. Kind of depends on, like Gestal said, how the deck of fate is. I wouldn't mind grabbing both. I think if you're early mid game and you don't have Thor Armands and you could snag both, I know that's a lot of resources. It could be nice for your account. I'm definitely doing the fusion. I gotta wait and see, I guess, the points for Hansel.
Okay. Fair point. Zero?
Yeah, I'm gonna go for him. I think, again, barring not breaking the bank on doing this, I like the synergy in terms of, like, I do like having the 2 champ combo in the game. I think that's like an extra layer of stuff. Are they king and queen? Are they Mariska Taras? No, not at all. But yeah, I think so. And then I would just say this dude hard wrecks Leo. Not that Leo is made into the arena, but he was my very first legendary. So he's the most familiar champion I have in all areas of the game, but also in arena. So this dude gets past the fear and the unkillable that Leo would bring to the table.
Fair point.
So this dude will hard wreck him, but how many people are playing with him now? Now that they've given us the king and the queen and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, and I just say you never know. Maybe 1 or 2 little tweaks, and we've seen that they are more apt to make tweaks lately. Then again, when you're out. So I don't know. For me, I'm gonna go for him if it's doable.
Okay. Fern, what about you?
We'll go for the fusion, definitely. Very unlikely we do the deck of fate, especially like Gestal said. If it was like that last one for Freya, no shot we're doing it. We have our free-to-play account, we actually have the resources to go do a deck of fate, but not at that cost, especially with how many sets of fragments they did it, with the lack of other resources that were in the deck of fate. No, I definitely wouldn't do that. If it's a more friendly deck of fate, potentially would consider it, but heavily leaning towards not doing it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same way. I feel like I do want to go for both of them, but the deck of fate, again, assuming that it is as bad as it was last time, probably will be a skip. If there's one thing I'm trying to do now is to, prove to their analytics, because that's the only thing they look at, is that this is not working. So fusion-wise, I will go for it. The deck of fate event will be...
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
I mean, how many people here said that last deck of fate was awful, but then actually went for it? Because I actually think there's a lot of people that complained, but then still did it. That's what was frustrating. Is like, you talk about bringing down the analytics, but every YouTuber came out and made a video about how bad it was, but then every YouTuber also came outside of you came out and also had a video pulling soul stones for it. So
this is what the YouTubers
do. You're right. And it really depends up to every individual content creator. I will say that, I am not gonna pass judgment on everybody on what they do or don't do. I get that a lot of them do need to do this because it's their livelihood. Myself, this is not my livelihood. So if I want to put a point out, I can put the point and it's not going to affect me in that sort of way. But, I get what you're talking about. And I thought about, making and discussing that when that was going on, but I decided against it because I don't want the he says he should kind of stuff going on. But it is a very fair point. If you complain about it and you actually do it, then where do you really stand on it? But
one warning just to throw in on this too is usually when they give us these fusion champions, they also give us the opportunity to get a 4 or 5 star blessing too. Mm-hmm. So they give us double the champions, and they might give us double the soul stones or the soul for that. So just warning, that's a whole lot of resources when you look at what they've done
Right.
in the past. For
Right.
all of that, that's another little warning out there because you're now doubling it up, right? So
Right. That's it. Let's talk a little bit about Live Arena now. A couple of weeks ago on Ash's video, they announced that they're going to do something in the next couple of months that makes Live Arena a little more enjoyable or enticing for the player base. And they said that this was going to happen before year's end. Now, I've recently started getting into Live Arena, and I've been kind of enjoying it, to be quite honest. I'm not going to lie. When I can play it, even though, you know, my fights aren't always on my side, I don't always win the fights, but I have been enjoying it, right? That said, there's a lot of things they could change to make it more enjoyable, and I think the number one thing that they could do is bring out a damn friend list, right? I know that they have something planned for this year and something planned for next year, but Live Arena, I know some of you, again, play it and enjoy it, but what's one thing that you would love to see them change that would, you know, you think would make it more enjoyable for yourself and the community? Chat, this is a question towards you and towards, I'm going to start with Ken first.
I mean, we try to make the live arena fun on the streams. Every single day I'm doing my live arena, usually doing like 10 or maybe 15 if I enjoy a lot, you know. And when we face my viewer, one of my viewer, actually my clan leader, shout out to Red there, Alfred there. I cannot read his name, but yeah, something like that. He made a wheel system. And Plarium also used that wheel system on the latest CC challenge for the Classic Arena. Basically, this is how does that work, guys. You know, you roll in the wheel and it's tell you what to pick, you know. It's saying, like, for example, Force, Affinity, Legendary Champion, or the champion from Barbarian Faction, stuff like that. I like this limitation, man, because it's working great if we face each other, but we are not facing each other that often because this game doesn't even have a friend system and doesn't even have a friendly attack, you know, to do your friends, test their defense, stuff like that. And the thing they can do, like season system, you know, every single online game have a season system. You know, this season, for example, we are going to champion from Undead, I don't know, Banner Lord and the Demon Spawn faction on it. You know, we have to use this faction on it, you know. So I think that can be fun. The other thing they can do, delete the armas. That can also make it pretty fun, I believe.
Okay. I kind of like what you're talking about there, except for the deletion of. Look, I get Armands is a big problem, right? For Arena, especially. I get it. I do. Live Arena. Yeah. Well,
100%.
Yeah. But the thing is, Armands also allows a lot of the other player base that did do the fusion to be able to kind of progress through dungeon waves, right? Through Hydra. And again, it's a big thing to be able to get to Hydra and not Hydra, sorry, to be able to get through Doom Tower and try to get, you know, the rewards at the top here on hard mode. Those are 2 sacred shards that somebody's going to be able to use to do a fusion or something, right? So I do get the frustration of putting Armands in Arena and being a damn menace, but I don't think deleting him or banning him is going to be, you know, the right idea.
Delete armas on the arena.
Okay.
I'll go next.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think they have shown, just speaking of what you just said about Armands, they have shown, like with this Wixoil well and the Hydra changes, that they are willing to do changes in different areas of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So keep Armands as is for PvE, and then that will keep the community happy, like doing exactly what you said for Doom Tower. I think potentially adding a cooldown or something like that if he's in Arena could potentially fix all that. But what my suggestion for Live Arena, and I've mentioned it before, but I think, and I wanted to go before Gestal because he's a huge Smite player, but MOBAs allow this interactivity when you're going through the picking and banning phase. So they already had the picking phase, but in MOBAs, and it's funny because I just happened to see that League of Legends was at the top of Twitch this morning when I woke up this morning, and I guess they're having their World Series right now, and they have like 100 million viewers watching it right now. But and for people who don't know what I'm talking about, is at the very start of the match, you have the ability to pick a champion and ban the champion from both teams to be picked, right? So if you were to do that with Armands as being first picked every, on either side, maybe the first person who gets the chance to go, they ban Armands. That means no team can play with Armands, and that would solve that problem from that perspective. And then when they introduce new meta champions in the game, but I would love to see where you could ban like 2 champions, and then you pick 2 champions, and then you could ban a 3rd champion, and then go pick the rest of your team. That would be kind of cool, like they do in other MOBAs. League of Legends, Dota, Smite, games like that offer that. And with so many champions in the game right now, and more champions are quote unquote meta, it'd be great to see. And you get these combos, right? Taras and Marishka. Okay, well, one person bans the Marishka, and then that combo's out of the fight. That can help solve some of these issues that they've introduced in the game. That's what I would love to see, and I hope that's something that they are strongly considering.
That's okay. I see that point. I guess my only thing with that was going to be is, and Big brought it. Good suggestion here. So if everybody just bans Armands, there's no Armands, then what's the point of having that? If every player, if we're going into live arena and I don't want to deal with Armands, he's going to be my automatic pick. If you are coming up against me and your automatic pick is I'm going to ban Armands, then it doesn't really, I think that doesn't really fit as well.
Well, what I would counter to that, it just adds to the layer of complexity and depth to the mode that you already have right? Because you're already kind of doing that. If someone takes a Siphi, you may consider taking, picking the Roto so they can't get the combo, for example. I mean, that's happening a lot because I use King and Queen and Taras and Marishka. And like if I end up with a weird odd pick, I might take the King and they'll take the Ankara and block me. So it just adds a more in-depth complexity, and there's 1,000 champions in the game, right? Mm-hmm. So like maybe you don't do that. Maybe your whole comp is to use Armands. Well, then you're forcing someone to use one of their ban pick to ban Armands, and you're not going to ban it, for example. And you'll know if you're first pick if you want to take Armands. So again, it just adds that depth of strategy, which a lot of this is, and it kind of goes back to other people have said this. Yeah, it's about the champions and the gear that you have, but it's also about the skill that you have too. And this will just add more depth of flavor for that skill. It'll be my counter argument to that.
Okay. All right. PJ?
I think seasons, like we kind of mentioned, seasons would be really cool. Getting like a kind of variety. Also, what they could do, I'm not sure how hard this would be, but they could have like Classic Arena, how it is now, you could use whatever you want. Then you could have like you could select okay, I want to do only 1 mythical. Each person can only have 1 mythical on the team. Or you could do this game mode, no one has no Armands, or like stuff like that, where you just going ahead knowing like these specific rules or specific challenges, and can switch things up. I think seasons though, it kind of is annoying that it's one long going like event. I think if they did seasons and did some rewards for that, it could get some more people to do live arena as well.
Okay. What about chat? What do you think about seasons, but in each season there's a faction that is banned instead of just a particular champion itself? Would that be something that kind of works? Gestal, what do you think?
Wait, say it again?
So my last suggestion based on PJ's was one way to make an arena more enjoyable is to ban specific factions through like a season, like a 1-month season, yeah. And they just ban like a specific faction. So this month you can't use barbarians, next month you can't use bannerlords, and something like that. We do have 13 factions, if I'm not mistaken. So each month on a rotating schedule, they could just pick one faction, and then that kind of changes the whole meta every month.
I think having like an alternate live arena that would handle that type of thing would be cool. I like having just a pure live arena, all the champs. If they were to do seasons, I'd want it to be more like a reset of the points, and then give you something else to, like a new season and some other goal to reach, like a skin or a new champ or whatever. Like I think that would be cool for the season type thing. But in terms of like changing the way Live Arena would be every month, like who you could use, I honestly wouldn't like that. I like the I like having all the champs available.
Okay.
Just for my suggestion, although everything's already been taken, thanks for letting me go last. My suggestion though is 100% a ban phase before you do your picks. Like coming from MOBAs, like that to me is the only way to prevent Armands being picked 99.9% of the time. It's ludicrous. Like if you're picking first and not picking Armands, you're facing Armands, bro. Armands is so broken, and then Armands is probably 99.9% banned. So to me, what they should do is a blind ban. You only get one. So before any picks are made, I ban someone. The opponent doesn't know who I'm banning, and the opponent's banning someone, and I don't know who they're banning. So both of you could ban Armands, or neither of you could ban Armands, hoping the other one does. I think that would be the way to go. I think banning more than one right now is a lot because, like, yeah, there are 1,000 champions. There are not 1,000 viable champions for Live Arena. There are about maybe 50 of them are viable. Maybe, probably more like 30. So I think I've been saying this on my stream forever. I think the blind ban would be amazing, and it would really bring a whole new complexity into Live Arena, and it would almost. Like you would have to really know who you're facing too, right? Like you'd have to remember what people run. Like maybe someone's got that ridiculous, I don't know, Georgid or Wukong or whatever, and you'd much rather not face that as opposed to the Armand. So I think that would be really cool, but whatever. They got to do stuff. Live Arena is awesome. It is by far the future of the game, as it has been with pretty much any other game. PvE is always you're gonna have to wait for new content, right? PvP is always going. It's always changing with updates and new champs and stuff. This is how the game will have longevity, in my opinion. Look at what was the Summoner's War. Summoner's War is 10 years old, 12 years old now, and that game is still being played because of PvP. Nothing else. There's no other reason to play that game except for PvP.
Okay.
Can I just add on what he just said? Yeah, sorry. What I was gonna say is I hear what Gestal's saying is like do a blind pick, and that would make sense. I would think maybe you could pick an order. You could pick maybe two, and then if you both pick the same one as your first pick, then it would default to your second pick, and then just ban one.
Yeah, something like that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that would be kind of cool.
So if you both pick something, then it just randomly picks a different champion.
Not randomly. Like you pick two. So say I picked Armands and Wukong, and he picks Wukong and Armands. Well, now let's just say that he picks Taras and Marishka, for example. Or maybe we both pick Armands as our first pick, and Marishka as his second pick. So it would say, okay, Zerbro, you went first. Boom, Armands. Okay, they picked Armands, but now it's Marishka as the second pick, and that's what's banned. That's what I'm saying.
I think
something like that. But the one thing I'll say too is talking about the complexity in Live Arena and basically what Gestal just said, like the future of the game, right? Like a lot of the champions or teams that you can build can handle, potentially you're building them to handle 70% of the content, but there are those one or two other champions, taking the Armands off the playing field. There's this handful of champions that just wrecks your teams, right? Too. So like having a couple of ban phases, like I was suggesting, could also help you enhance your team. It's like, okay, I don't know, Rodos is going to always wreck this team that I pick, and he's the one champion that can go through my unkillable and do whatever. So I need to ban him to make my team stronger. It just adds an extra layer of complexity.
Okay. Hey Fern, what about you? What would you suggest?
All right, well, we're gonna have a completely different perspective because all you guys are endgame, and we're a free-to-play mid-game account. So we're gonna have a completely different perspective than all you guys, because our experience is different than the rest of you guys. First of all, we're gonna smile more. We're not gonna mean mug anymore. Now we like to consider ourselves arguably the best free-to-play live arena player out there. So I'll let you guys understand like what I'm seeing. I think if you restrict the pool that we have, especially for my account, you're killing my account. Like, I already have a small amount of champions as it is that I can go into live arena with, and now you're gonna say, oh, by the way, you can't use these factions. Like, that would be hell for me, absolute hell, and it would make it worse than what it already is. So I would hate that. I think a lot of mid-game players would absolutely hate that. That's, maybe for the end game that everyone's got that big pool, that's great. But for a mid-game player, that's an awful experience for them. I do like Gestal's idea. We like Armand's. Like, Armand's I joke about nerfing Newt because Newt's so good in Fire Knight from 7 to 10 that like really nobody else could compete with that. Like, everyone talks about Armand's. Yeah, well, that gives a player like myself, that mid-game player, that low spender, that free-to-play player that got that guy, that was a game-changer pull right there. So in live arena, I like that idea of like one blind ban. But if you start limiting the pool, like I've only pulled 3 void legendaries on my account, and I go against sometimes 4 mythicals that are chosen. That sucks. That's not fun for anybody. Like, when you've pulled more mythicals and I've pulled void legendaries, and one of them Stiffy, so technically I've only pulled, or not Stiffy, one of them's Arbiter, so technically I've only pulled 2 void legendaries realistically. I dupe Arbiter, so I actually did pull another Arbiter. That's awful experience for live arena. It feels really bad when you already know on the home screen, like, I don't even have a chance. Like, I've gotten to the point where I literally, let's just see what I'm going against. And granted, I know not everybody that's got 5 mythicals is the best player in the world, and probably I could win, but the odds are you could find out in the first 2 seconds if they win that race, it's game over. I just leave the fight. I mean, it's just not worth my time. So I think limiting the player pool, would just make mid-game players and young accounts just hate live arena even more. I just think the balance is the thing that frustrates me the most of live arena. I just feel as though I'm running up against, in silver, too many stacked accounts, and it's not enjoyable. It's not something that we could, I find any fun in. It's just gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'm just doing this just so I can get my area bonuses. And that's why I think most people, like PJ said it the other day on his stream, he doesn't even do live arena. Now that he's got Marius, he doesn't even do live arena anymore. So most people are quitting. They're doing it literally for Marius or for, whatever they have to do for the area bonuses. And then they're like, I'm out of this garbage. So there are a lot of fixes that need to be made. I think Plarium needs to really look into this and see what's going to benefit the community, but limiting it to factions would be hell for the mid-game player and below.
Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
About the armas for early game perspective, especially if we are going to talk about live arena, I'm so glad I reached the gold live arena before armas release it, because in the anything below the gold, people can use multiple armas. And you can only ban one of them.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
On the gold, where there's a one armor, just ban him, right? Like, that will be...
That is true.
Like, I
Fair
cannot
point.
imagine there's a 5 armors on the enemy team, stuff like that. Obviously, on the PV wise, they can, like I believe Zero mentioned that, they can nerf the armors without affecting PV if they want. They are smart enough for that. They can only nerf him for the arena. I think nobody mind that.
Right.
I hope. Yeah. Restriction, Fern, I totally agree with you. Like even me right now, like they released the Dragon tournament right with the Night Revenant one day. Bro, I don't have a Theodore. I don't have any champion. Literally Night Revenant on the Dragon wise, I have nothing. But time to time they are actually releasing a content like that. You know, it's not the first time they did it. Especially on the dungeons, they are doing that for very long time. The condition tournament usually have a better reward too. You know, even you cannot farm on the like high stage, which is stage hard 10. You can even finish that tournament in the normal stage 20, even the 16. Live arena wise,
you have Eric's. You have Eric's.
Bro,
She can solo stage 13.
13.
Yeah. She can solo stage 13.
Dragon 13?
Yeah. She's positive
no 13.
affinity.
Unlike normal 13.
Yeah.
There is no 13.
13. Yes.
Yeah, she can, but I want to farm a little bit higher difficulty, you know? So, little bit grit, yeah. Anyway, arena wise, I guess that will be bad. Airfern, I agree with you. But that was just one advice to Pilarium. You know, maybe they can do. Actually, somebody mentioned that. Let me try to find it on the here. I am sorry, my friend, but I cannot see your message. But I see it on the Twitch chat. He said like maybe they can do this limitation only for the gold tier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can maybe help. It could be fun for the endgame Pilaria. Yeah.
That could work just for endgame players or just for Gold Arena. All right, so I feel like there is so much more stuff that we could talk about for this, and Plarium can definitely. They have things at their disposal that if they did, it would be just really great. But with that said, where can people come and find you, Gestal?
On Twitch, guys, twitch.tv/Gestal Gaming, and on YouTube, Gestal Gaming, and the website, gestal.gg.
All right. PJ, where can everybody come and find you?
Twitch, MXPJE, stream pretty much every single weekday. Raid, other games as well, TCG, Black Myth Wukong. It's a great time. Come chill, hang out, and yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Zero, where can everybody come and find you?
Find us on that Twitches at Zero Brew every Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday evenings. And the YouTubes is, and the TikToks is. You know what we do.
All right. Ken, where can everybody come and find you?
FinalKenpachi, both YouTube and the Twitch, streaming every single day on the Twitch, guys, when the Columbus reset. Except the Sundays, I'm here exclusive.
All right, and Fern, where
he
can
pays me money?
I do. I paid him, and well, never mind. Fern, where can everybody come and find you?
Well, we're often out here on the corner out here in Nashville, Tennessee. You can find me out there. But another place is I don't even know what my name is on Twitch. What is my name? What's it? Airfern 2? Yeah, we're Airfern 2. And we'll probably get our YouTube going at some point as well. I can't remember. I think it's Airfern RSL. We did have a YouTube for a long time that nobody followed. So if you all want to look at like the beginning of this account, that you guys could go check out those old videos.
All right. Ken, what you got for a shout out for me, brother?
I like to shout out the Red Bull streams. He's actually been streaming very long time ago. He took a break, but he recently come back. He's, I think, the only person stream from the mobile devices, right? And the playing raid at the same time. That's super
cool.
hard thing to do it. So let me post his link to the chat so you guys can check this out. Great guy. There we
go. PJ, what you got for a shout out for me, brother?
All right, we're giving a shout out to I'm Roadblock. He's been on the podcast before. He's been hanging out in chat. He's a really good dude. Streams on YouTube and Twitch. He multi-streams, does YouTube content. Awesome guy. Count help, count takeovers. Always like hearing his thoughts and opinions. Posting his link in chat. Drop him a follow on Twitch. And yeah, awesome dude.
100%. He actually helped me set up some stuff on the background for the stream, which will be testing out this week on actually tomorrow's stream to make sure that it's all working out well before we switch over to it. So big shout out to him. Gestal, what you got for a shout out for me?
I'm gonna shout out my man Just Nils TV. He's been streaming. He's just chatting right now, but he's been streaming tons of Raid. Awesome guy, awesome streamer. Go over there and check him out. Just Nils NILS TV.
All right, Fern, what you got for a shout out for me, brother?
I'm gonna shout out Anonymous. He as a lot of y'all know, he's a former Raid player. He passed away. And you guys may have done something for him. If you guys ever go to my Discord, he built my avatar. He was a great player. Really loved him. He was a paraplegic, and he passed about a month or so ago. And he was awesome in the community, and we miss him every single day. So I just wanted to send some love to him and his family, and give him a shout out because he was such an amazing person to me and the community.
100% right on that. Zero.
Yeah, and actually, he's here today, but Airfern 2 is who I was going to shout out. We rated him, I think, last week, and he was like, oh, man, about the podcast. I was like, just reach out to Blazin. I was like, and ask him. And so it sounds like you did, and I'm glad you got to join in today. I think it's always good to get a fresh perspective, especially those like early mid-game account perspectives, too. So a lot of value that was brought. So shout outs to Airford, too. On the Twitches...
All right. So yeah, big shout out to Airfern. I am not gonna shout out Mr. 4-0 because of this bullshit poll right here, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I was.
Oh wow.
Zero sent me this at the start of the stream, and I was like, yeah, I am not shouting him out just for this.
So here's
garlic.
Okay, so let me tell you about this. So he came into chat the other day. And he was like, okay, I'm about to pull. He goes, I'm in Mercy. This will be my first time hitting Mercy. And so we asked him in chat, I was like, who did you want to get? And he's like, my one, if I had to pick, would be Mezamel, right? So he went and pulled, and Gizmac was his Mercy pull. And then he still got the Mezamel after the Mercy
great.
Popped. Yeah,
that's
and I was
crazy.
like, you lucky son of a bitch.
That's crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's huge.
But yeah, that's a crazy pull right there. I wish why does that not happen to me, right? But yeah,
Those are the only two mythicals I'm using in Live Arena right now. But
I mean, I really
exceptional.
want Gizmac. I really want Gizmac, honestly.
So good.
So
good.
I'm not complaining, the ones that I have, but I'll definitely take Gizmac. But my shout out's actually going to go to Airfern. We're going to do a little special treat for him today. He's going to be giving away 5 lots of 540 gems and 1 ancient shard. Sir, you have 2 weeks. I need them turned in by the 13th of November. So if you guys aren't already following Mr. Airfern, make sure you do give him a follow over on the Twitch so you can find
Links
out how you guys can get some shards. Airphone, if you wouldn't mind putting your link into Twitch, or I know people can just click on it. But just get me 5 people of, whoever it is going to be in your community. Just get me their UMID numbers, and then they're going to get some stuff. Big shout out to you, though. I mean, streaming, starting up, I mean, it's big. Trying to come into the scene where it's already overinflated, and I'm loving your stuff, man. I find you online, and definitely a lot of fun to hang out on your stream. Even though sometimes I don't talk, I still lurk. I'm always watching. That's it, guys. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Today, we actually peaked out at 107 viewers between Twitch and YouTube. This podcast is getting bigger and bigger because of you guys. Thank you. Thank you all so much. As for Twitch, we are going to raid Mr. JR Star 3, who is another fellow content creator of ours, another raid streamer, and Knights of TELERIA. He's been a big help with all of this stuff. Actually, probably owe half of this podcast to him for helping me get it off the ground. So make sure you guys give him some love when we go over there. And as always, guys, much love, much appreciation. Be safe, be well, be good to each other. We'll catch you guys next time.